Recording.
Hey, Kat, a follow-up from the notes of the minutes of August. Refresh my memory, was the letter of support for the changes ever implemented? I don't remember signing it, but what's the
We
status
signed
of
it and we sent it over with the, you guys signed it.
Ah, all right.
Because it was real messy, and remember, we had to go back and forth, and we got it done.
All right, perfect. Perfect. Thanks for refreshing my memory.
Okay. And I can update us in my update on that.
How many commission members do we have? Dan's on board. Have we heard from Dave or Mary?
I'm here.
Oh, thanks. Good morning, Mary.
Hello, Ron.
Dan is on, and we did hear from Dave. He is unable to make it today.
All right, well, let's officially begin the meeting. I got 9:05. Welcome, everyone, on this brisk, cold morning. At least it's sunny, so I'm always enjoying the sunny because I got a solar array on my roof, so I'm always happy on a sunny day. So. All right, any issues on the meeting minutes of October 28th? Dan, Mary, any issues?
No, I'm fine with it.
All right, the format was a little different. It was, but good summary bullet points, so I enjoyed that. It was easier reading for me, so.
I agree.
Hearing no changes or modifications, we'll approve the meeting minutes of October 28th. Proceeding down to program updates.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katharina Donegan. I'm the environmental manager over the Air and Waste. If there's anybody on here that isn't familiar, the staffing, we're down 2 people. 2 staff member, Ian Ashcroft, who wasn't with us very long, only a couple of years, maybe 3 years, Margaret. He has moved to the Solid Waste Management District. He's working with Dave Berger and his group. He was doing our municipal grants. He will sorely be missed, but the good news is we're able to replace him, and we're in that process now. And then our other vacancy is our office specialist, who was Brandy Dorsey, who was with us a very, very short time, 2 or 3 months. And she has been promoted within the health department, and she was really good. She will be missed. But again, we have permission to replace her, and so we're in that process. Our resource recovery modification to the waste ordinance. It's been reviewed by legal, responded by Mark, and I'm in the process of doing a final review, and then it'll go forward for legislation. And hopefully that will move smoothly within the next couple of months. There is another modification out there to the waste code, and that is a modification for the haulers. And it would limit the hours of operation for both residential and commercial from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. This was not initiated by our office. And from what I understand, it was stemmed from a concern in South County that came through our office about a commercial pickup at a strip mall that was waking children up at 5 o'clock in the morning. However, we have not gotten any additional concerns since October on that from that complainant. So I'm assuming it's been resolved. I'm not sure why this legislation is going forward. We did submit comments and we said that it was unnecessary and that haulers needed to start early in the morning, and they normally start about 2 a.m. and that to have this in place would be the biggest concern would be safety and having the trucks on the street during business hours and during, high traffic times. So hopefully that will come through to the council and they will be dropped. However, there has been a call for a committee of the whole to discuss this. I don't believe there's been a date set yet for that committee meeting. I can let you know when it is set, if it happens. That's what I have about legislation going on in the county. I wanted to give you a real quick look at our 2022 surcharge budget. That's the slide that's up. Our surcharge balance at the end of 2021 was at $7 million. Basically, that does not include the fourth quarter surcharge fees that'll come in soon. It doesn't include the returning of any unused budgeted, and we'll probably be returning, I would say, about $700,000 from last year's budget back. The 2022 surcharge budget is $2.5 million, which is quite a bit of an increase. We did increase some items. We increased the household hazardous waste budget. We added a little bit more in environmental cleanup. We didn't remove any of the items that we normally don't spend. That just gives us a lot of flexibility with the budget. And if we encumber that with the 7 million, our remaining surcharge balance is 4.8 million, which is a nice little cush we have. I would like to see us spend some of that down. And one of the things that we keep working on, and hopefully very soon we'll get a plan together, is for a third household hazardous waste facility that would encompass also electronic drop-off and maybe a recycling drop-off or a swap shop, something to that effect, a more inclusive site. We've been working on it. We haven't been able to find a site suitable, but we keep looking, so hopefully. That pretty much wraps up my report. Does anybody have any questions for me? Mary, you're muted.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. Was talking with some friends about the electronic or the hazardous waste sites, one way south and one way north. And they wondered why there wasn't one more in between the two, West County. So, uh, and the other comment was from this discussion was that the one at South County at Limay is, they said it's very hard to find. The signage is very poor. And so they were, mentioning that. But anyway, the fact that there's nothing between south and north sites, I'm really glad to hear, Katharina, that might materialize this year in 22. So keep working on that, okay?
Yeah, it will be west.
Uh-huh.
It probably will not materialize in 2022, maybe 2023.
Okay.
But hopefully we find a site and we start working on it
Mhm.
to have it open by 2023.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we did budget for signage, permanent signage for both the north and south sites this year, so that we'll be putting up some permanent signage, which will help people finding their way to South County.
Good. I will pass that on. That comes up again in my talking with my friends. Thanks, Katharina.
Okay, sure.
Mhm.
Yes, Ron? You're muted, Ron. I can't hear you.
On the surcharge balance, are you able to gather any dividends or interest on that to add to that balance? Or does that go into a separate county fund?
No, we benefit from the interest and what we earn on that money, and we have been earning, I have to remember, but it was a substantial amount. It's like 250,000 a year.
Wow.
All right, that's good. That was my question.
Yeah. You want to move on to program updates? Oh, I was supposed to give an update on the COVID response. I apologize. We're getting back to normal, or whatever normal is. We're, working from home most of the time, as you can see in my background and most of our backgrounds. Staff has taken on some duties at the testing sites recently. I had to get tested on Tuesday, and I was very surprised to see 3 of my staff members working the testing site, which was good. Previously, across the year during 2021, staff helped out immensely at vaccine clinics, conducted case investigations, contact tracing, case monitoring. Last year at this time, we were running the phone line system. We've done COVID data entry. I'm not anticipating we'll do as much during 2022, but we will continue lending staff to the COVID effort. It hasn't affected our performance as of yet, just because like right now, we're not doing inspections unless it's absolutely necessary, or it's an outdoor inspection, just because of the surge of the virus right now. But staff has been nothing but spectacular in helping out with the efforts. It's been amazing to see how great and how forward they just step up and help out. So So Jamil, you are up next.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to provide more of a end year in review for the trash district program. And so the first slide kind of shows you information about the call center stats. As you know, we have a call center set up for St. Louis County residents that can call and make complaints about missed pickups, missing cards, things of that nature. So during 2021, our drop rate was 12% for the year. That represents a total of 975 calls that came in through that call center hotline. Um, and our largest drop rate occurred during the fourth quarter, mostly in the month of November. We had a drop rate of 30%, which is actually high. That's a little, we want to stay under 20%. But that month we had a few weeks where we had quite a few dropped calls. The good thing I can say is the fourth quarter was our lowest amount of call volume for the year. So the percentage is kind of misleading when you look at the total representation of all calls that came in during the fourth quarter. Moving, and then our biggest complaints during 2021 were basically revolved around yard waste. We had some issues over the summer with yard waste in some of our districts due to labor shortages as well as supply chain issues for our area. Next slide kind of shows you the hauler complaints for the last 3 years of our district contracts. As you can see, Waste Connections, they kind of had a spike this year in complaints as opposed to 2020. They had a total of 141 complaints last year. Again, a lot of this stemmed from the fact that they had issues with yard waste. Of the 8 districts, currently Waste Connection services 5. If you remember in 2020, before COVID hit, they took over districts 4 and 6 for Meridian Waste, who'd had difficulties prior to any issues with COVID. So that's kind of, there's been a hindrance. All of our haulers have had to deal with the same problems, but Waste Connections, they feel it more because they pick up about 48,000 plus households currently in unincorporated St. Louis County. So the impact is it's greater for them, but this contract expires March 31st. And when the new round of contracts start in April, Waste Connections will they will decrease by a little bit over 9,000 households because they're losing District 6. That will actually be taken over by Republic Services Allied Waste. So I'm hoping that will also help Waste Connections with their labor issues, as they'll have less exposure in the districts. And we'll only have 2 district haulers starting April 2022. That Waste Connections will have 4, and Republic Allied Services will have 4. So it'll be kind of split in half. So we'll see how that goes. Moving along, the next slide. This deals with the survey we have in place for residents to kind of let us know how they feel about their service. Since the third quarter of last year, we've only had about 16 additional individuals fill this out, which was a little surprising. But then again, I would say I was on leave the last couple of months, so we got through the fall leaf season pretty well, I think, with Waste Connections as it relates to complaints. We didn't have a lot of complaints coming in, so people tend to fill this survey out when there's something wrong. With that said, we still had about 64% of all respondents say that they were satisfied with the service they're currently receiving from their district hauler. The majority of individuals that took this survey were unaware of which district they lived in. So that's something I hope to improve the next 5 years, that people know, where they live, who and what hauler is attached to their area. And then, of course, the next slide just shows you what services our customers actually value the most. Trash and recycling being at the top, and the optional yard waste service is the least desired service that feature with our district contracts. And just, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that we have, to date, we have 388 total respondees that have taken the survey on our website. And the next slide is just our QR code. It shows you, this is just another, option for you to copy and pass out to your constituents, friends, family members, where this will take you straight to our survey. Our website has been updated. We're still in the process of updating some of the district information. With that being said, it can be difficult to navigate if you're not tech savvy. This QR code will take you straight to the survey. So it's just something convenient to use with your cell phone. And my last slide, it kind of just depicts other links that are important. This will take you to a lot of waste-related information as it relates to our entire program. And also the last link is a link to our survey as well. So are there any questions?
Jamil, have you consolidated the annual totals for trash and yard waste and recycling by districts yet?
So I am waiting on the month of December for Waste Connections districts. I've got everyone else's information. I normally would have tonnage reports in my presentation. So what I anticipate is I'll have that data for our next Waste Commission meeting. The individual responsible for sending that to us, they're out with COVID right now, and for whatever reason, no one else over at Waste Connections can access that information. So yeah, I'm just missing the month of December. So I didn't want to present it and it was not complete.
I was just curious on yard waste, whether there was extra yard waste associated with extra complaints in, as
What
an
I
example.
What I can tell you is, so one thing about the yard waste, during the summer, it was sitting for some weeks in waste connection districts, but it ultimately was picked up. It was just picked up late. So what I've seen, I did look at Waste Management and I did look at Republic Services numbers. I didn't see a huge spike in any of their numbers. We've been told that the numbers have gone up for trash. That's not what the district information is showing me for Republic and Waste Management, So I'm waiting on Waste Connections numbers just to, because they have 5 of the 8 districts, so it's more significant information. So again, I will present that information at our next Waste Commission meeting once I have all the records.
For the city of Hazelwood, our trash tonnage for the year was up 3%, FYI.
Gotcha.
But it was interesting, our yard waste was up 18%, but that was associated with a cut in services of not picking up fall leaves that are raked to the curb. So there you go.
Got you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Where is the drop-off site for a person that hauling? Like if they're cleaning out a basement or a yard or something, where's the drop-off? That is there a payment? And then the other question I had is the amount for illegal dumping.
Okay. So for your first question, the county doesn't have a drop-off location if you're doing a residential clean out. With your individual trash service, you have once a month bulk pickup, so you can actually sit 2 bulky items out per month just with your normal service. But if you're cleaning out, say, a garage or a basement, you can always contact a licensed hauler. That includes your residential hauler. I know they have dumpsters they will bring and drop off at your home, or they even have bags that you can fill up that they'll come and pick up. So you have companies that do clean outs, like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I know they do a lot of clean outs. But yeah, the county does not operate or manage any drop off site for residential waste, yard waste, or any type of waste stream. The only thing we have are the HHW facilities for your home hazardous materials that we would like to keep out of our landfills. And those location, if you're in North County, there's a Seven Hills location. South County, we've got the Lee May location. And don't have the physical address, but it's on our website. And if you're interested, we definitely can get you more information. Is this Sharon Jackson I'm speaking with?
Yes,
Okay.
I need that information.
Okay. Well,
Especially
I got your email address, so yeah, we can definitely email you our
Okay.
HHW facility information.
Right.
No problem.
So Sharon, this is Margaret Lilly. I'm the supervisor for the waste diversion program. We have a recycling wizard on our website that will provide you with the addresses of like transfer stations if you want to drop junk off yourself. Also, other options like through your hardware store, you can get like a Bagster bag for waste management, things like that. So if you go to our website, a little bit later on in this presentation, there will be directions on how to get to that part of our website, but it's the Recycle Wizard.
Okay.
Information about a lot of that.
We'd like to include that in our newsletter.
Okay. And regarding your second question about penalties for illegal dumping, so currently for the first offense, dumpers pay $500 fine, are required to clean up, remediate the site, and if it's a second offense, if we catch it for the second time within a 12-month period, that fine is doubled to $1,000. So those are the fine penalties that are currently in place.
So will we keep our cameras that we have installed in our neighborhood?
As long as there's a need, we will move them as needed. I know there are cameras up. So just the way the cameras work, so the health department has cameras, and then the police have cameras that are part of I believe, a grant. So that's not associated with the health department. So there will, in the foreseeable future, be cameras in the Castle Point community. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Jamil. Mike, I think you're up next.
Okay, so I'm going to go through our field services and enforcement data here. We can go to the next slide. All right, so we've had 210 complaints. You can see all the permits we've issued. Those are pretty typical numbers for us for the year. That's for all of 2021. Nothing really stands out that we did more of than last year. We can go to the next slide. It's our HHW update. Again, these are, I think they're up a little bit for this year, but it's not exceptional. So we have a new contractor, Heritage. We're not actually open right now. It says the 19th, but we didn't get the contract signed in time. So I just got word, and it was literally during this meeting that the contract got signed. So we'll be open next week. And Sharon, the website you can go to for the Household Hazardous Waste is hhwstl.com. That'll give you all the information about where the sites are and what we accept and everything. So good news though, because I was really nervous about opening up, but we'll be open up on Wednesday of next week. Will be our first day. And I think that's all I've got. Are there any questions? All right.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Margaret.
I'm Margaret Lilly. I am the waste diversion supervisor. I'm going to give you some year-end updates and just tell you what's going on currently in our program. So currently in our program for the 2021 municipal grants, we have 13 municipalities with fully executed contracts. There are 14 event dates scheduled so far for 2022. And those grants total an amount of $160,403. So 3 municipalities that had submitted for the 2021 grant is actually going to come out of 2022 grant funding due to the time it's taken to process applications and get their signatures. And basically, there's 3 municipalities with 2022 funding. $38,468 is in process, and $9,970 is approved. The majority of our grants this year are electronics drives, composting, and also we have a couple special projects with recycling carts, one for the Village of Hillsdale and one for Gleneco Park. So we have been able to do some schools and summer camps this year. Currently, we're working with the U.S. Green Building Council on the Green School Quest, and we've been able to make some limited classroom visits. In 2021, we reached a total of 695 students, which is like a tenth of what we normally do. But at least, you know, we have some signs that it might be coming back a little bit. So outreach, we had one event, and that was in Berkeley. There were about 200 attendees. And we also did a mailing, which went out to 35,000 residents. And it was postcards to unincorporated districts 1, 2, and 3, talking about our Recycle Wizard. And the other thing for outreach is that in spring of 2022, we have 2 curbside audits scheduled tentatively for Kinloch and the Village of Hillsdale. Both these communities will be recycling for the first time. We'll be providing carts for the for the Village of Hillsdale through a grant. And we're going to be doing curbside audits to get those communities off to the best start for recycling. So the other thing is that our Recycle Wizard has been proving popular. So we only had it for 7 months in 2021. And over that period of time, we had 10,591 first-time visitors and 54,356 materials viewed. So most popular searches have been mattresses, latex paint, and batteries. So in March of 2022, we're going to be sending out another postcard to the other districts in unincorporated St. Louis County. So that's districts 4 through 8. So it's about 50,000 postcards. And that'll also contain the 1STL messaging of reducing plastic bags. So that's all I have. Any questions?
I think we're good, Margaret.
Okay. All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. All right. I guess one last update, and Mark.
You're muted.
That better?
Better.
Okay. Good morning. There's not a whole lot of new activity associated with Bridgeton Westlake landfill. The EPA and the responsible authorities are continuing their work on defining the exact extent of RIM at the landfill and preparing their work plans for eventual remediation at the site. It's still looking, 2-3 years down the road before they stick a shovel in the ground, start digging that stuff up. Similarly, Champ Landfill, the operating landfill in the county, they're doing their thing. We haven't had a whole lot of issues or complaints. Occasionally we'll get odor complaints in that North County area. Both the county and MDNR have been responding to odor complaints when we get them. But operations at that landfill are continuing, and there aren't any significant issues. Couple interesting projects that we're working on regarding facilities. We received a proposal from an individual who wants to obtain start a pilot program for a small scale worm composting facility in North County. Katrina and Mike Biles and myself will sit down. We'll look at his plans for the small scale worm composting facility and proceed down that avenue of maybe starting up a small pilot project to see if that works. Katrina mentioned earlier the efforts that we've been doing concerning revisions to the recycling facilities ordinance section in our waste code. Katrina's reviewing all the edits that have been made to our first draft, and following that, she'll be sending it on to the council for hopefully for implementation. And the last little project that I've been working on, we've been detecting elevated levels of methane gas in an old closed landfill at Jefferson Barracks County Park. There was a dump site there years and years ago. There was a landfill that operated in that park area years and years ago, subsequently closed, but we've been detecting some elevated methane levels associated with that landfill, and I've written up a report and proposed basically some passive venting of that methane gas, and we'll send that to the Parks Department and see if they want to implement something along those lines. So that's basically all I've got. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Mark, I've got one. I appreciate having that meeting summary sent, but I had a question about when the excavation and disposal at the rim is at or above required concentrations. Have those concentrations been set now?
Yeah, they've been designated. I can't recall at the top of my head what that concentration level is. I'll have to look at that report, but yeah, that level is set in the record of decision.
Okay. All right. I was just curious and whether the concentrations was, I guess, at a reasonable level for determining, the removal aspect. So there you go.
Yeah, and it's in the microcuries range, so it's a pretty small concentration that
Okay.
that they are required to remove and dispose of if encountered.
Bingo. Change the subject. I'm going to date myself, but I think it was around 85 when I was working at the county. We got a call that at Jefferson Barracks, a parks person was on a riding lawnmower, went over and had a little baby explosion and tipped him over on the riding lawnmower due to methane, a little mini explosion underneath that lawnmower, FYI. So
yeah, I read those records. It was probably the 85, 86 vintage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Interesting. Let me let the commission know about that composting worm aspect as well. I'm kind of curious about that. So
Yeah, this guy's, he's looking at like a 1,500 square foot facility. We've got a few questions. He wants a 2-year pilot project, which is a little longer than we normally set up for pilot projects, but apparently they need, 7 months to a year to get their worms to grow. And so it's relatively reasonable. I talked to my counterpart in the state, and they don't seem to have a problem with something like that along those lines as well. So we'll see how it goes.
all righty, all righty. Any other questions for Mark? Anything else you want to add, Kat, on your staff updates?
Not for my staff, but I see that Joe Trunco is on this meeting, which he is welcomed. But Joe is retiring soon, and he was the first person over 30 years ago that I met that worked at MDNR. So he has had a long, enduring career in public service and waste management. And I know that he has been a pleasure to work with, and we've always appreciated his input and participation with all the county programs. So
Hey, Katharina, thanks.
you're welcome.
Actually, I think Ron was the first person I ever met with the county in
Yeah,
1999.
yeah. I remember you, Joe. So I was always impressed. He seemed, level-headed, a great person to be associated with, and knowledgeable, and willing to take extra steps to, get us down the right track. So I appreciate your time and dedication, Joe.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, are we down to other business?
I don't have any other business for you. Do any of the commissioners have other business they would like to bring up?
Dan or Mary? Anything? Hearing none, we're down to public comments. Any other comments for people joining in today? Open mic time.
Ron,
Yes.
can you hear me? Oh. For some reason,
We
another
hear
screen.
you. Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is just a trivial piece, but Mary Patterson, you all know, and I wrote an article for the League of Women Voters on composting. And we had fun collaborating. It'll be published in the February newsletter, the In League Reporter, they call it, for the league. But anyway, we both are pretty active in the league, and we just thought it would be fun. And there's always an article on environmental issues, every issue. So we stepped up and said, we want to write something on composting to encourage people not only to do backyard composting, but the bokashi method, and Mary and her wiggle worms. So anyway, it was fun, and thought maybe you'd like to know that she's alive and well, and still working along.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So.
Yeah.
Katharina, it's Susan Piazza with Republic Services. I just want to thank you for the support in regard to the ordinance Tracus is proposing with limiting commercial pickup time. And I have been in touch with his office and have been assured I'll get notice of the committee of the whole meeting that is going to be scheduled so we can be in attendance. But this is a huge issue. It's definitely not one to be taken lightly, as you're aware, and huge ramifications. There's nowhere else we are aware of that has such a stringent start time on commercial service. So we really need to make sure this gets the attention it deserves. So thank you already for the support from the county. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Would the commission members want to make a recommendation to Katrina about the hours of operation at being 6:30 to 6:30 is way too restrictive? I agree that it is, so.
Yeah, we can definitely put it in the minutes that, you know, I don't think it's time yet for a letter or an outreach to the council. I think we should wait until we see what happens with the committee of the whole. And if they still will move forward with this legislation, then I think at that time it would be appropriate for them to hear from the commission, the Waste Commission. If I am keeping, you know, close tabs on it, we may have to call a meeting to vote on it and to establish what you want to say in that letter. And we can certainly do that if it occurs.
Okay.
I'm thinking positively that there will be enough influence from the waste haulers that they can convince them, just based on the safety issues alone, that this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
This is Susan again. Thank you for that. As you can tell, this is keeping me awake at night. But I do appreciate, I think kind of a stand down for now. But to your point, Katharina, we'll see what the committee as a whole, what the result of that is. We do have NWRA teed up as well. And I do have some very loose statistics. Should we get to a point where you need to write a letter that I think could emphasize the safety concern, and the biggest is just a loose estimate, we would have to put 30% more commercial trucks on the road to accommodate the limitation in hours. That's our business out of Bridgeton. That's not just the county. So those are broad stats, but holy cow, 30%, that's one company, right? So safety is really, I think, all that needs said, but we'll see if we need to say more, right? But again, I'll stop talking now, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I just had an
Thanks, Susan.
additional comment before you all leave. We have a problem with illegal trash being dumped in vacant. And so we're trying to hold the homeowners or renters responsible. And so we don't have a lot of funds to do mailings. And so I just am looking for a more permanent resolution to the trash dumping here in Castle Point.
Okay, Sharon, I was going to ask you, where are you from?
Yeah, Castle
Castle
Point. Yes. And so the last time I was told we had maybe 200 to 300 vacants. And so like I said, it is just the overwhelming burden of trying to just ride down the street or walk down the street without looking at a trash dump site on a vacant. And I've been, we had a really good cleanup this past November. And they said like four of the big industrial waste, yard waste containers or whatever it is, a container, they were industrial size. They filled up 4 of them. And when I say they, we had all kinds of volunteers from church, police, fire department, some residents. But my really big question is, what do you all think about a trash district, a special purpose trash district? That will be chapter 235, Missouri State Statute, where the homeowners would vote on an amount taken out of the real estate taxes, and it just goes for that special purpose for trash.
Yes, Sharon, we have been doing a lot of research on that with our legal department. And I think that we need to take this conversation further. You can reach out to me. And we have staff that will assist you with what your community needs. We have very small budget that may be able to assist you with some cleanup. We have worked closely in the past with Castle Point. I know that Jamil has been very involved in it.
Definitely.
So if you reach out to me, we definitely will work with you, and we can put together some type of plan and move forward.
Yeah, it's most of the time I try to schedule a cleanup like in April, no later than May, and then turn right back around towards the end of the summer. So, but I think most of it is just changing the attitude.
We can do education and outreach. You know, we can work with Margaret, who does a lot of that in our program.
Yeah, because I think my
Why don't we can definitely do some type of meeting, or, you know, have a good discussion
I appreciate
on what the community needs and see what we can do to help.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And Ms. Jackson, I would ask, have you reached out to your council person?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe I'm always the type, maybe I have to maybe say it 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 times before I just really nail it. Yes, I have. Yes, we have. And so I don't know what her thought is about it. About a special trash district, because no, I haven't had any response about that particular. I know she's in agreement with cleanups. I know that, but
The council they do have a committee that is bringing all the different departments that work with illegal dumping. We have Public Works, the police, the health department coming together and discussing, you know, what we can do to assist the communities out there with cleanup. So that is ongoing. The next meeting, I think, is Friday.
which one is that?
Well, it's a
Committee of the whole?
internal move. No, it's an internal committee meeting. It's not a public meeting. But,
Okay.
you know, we're working towards what we can do as a whole to clean up a lot of the illegal dumping in unincorporated St. Louis County.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Katharina.
Yes.
It's Brent. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to add, the curfew on those trucks, just make note that it not only puts a burden on all the haulers, but what it would do to my scale traffic if trucks could not start dumping till 6:30 in the morning. We'd have trucks backed up at both facilities out onto the street. Northside accepts a lot of trucks prior to 6:30 a.m. that start running early in the morning on the recycle routes also. So I'm just
I will
adding
keep
one
that
more,
in mind.
adding one more little bullet point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good point, Brent. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. All right. May give the commission an update on how that illegal dumping task force is doing
I
internally.
can for the next one, yeah.
And keep us up to date on that. That has been a stickler for a long time, so.
Yeah, we want to really nip it in the bud. I'm just tired of doing cleanups and people are just not understanding that we're just not going to tolerate this trash. And it's not very expensive.
All right. Thanks, Sharon, for your comments.
Thank you.
Any other issues or public comments? All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's close the public comment period. And I see our next meeting is scheduled on April 21, the day before Earth Day of this year.
Mhm.
I'm assuming it will be virtual again, Katrina?
I would, yes, I would take that virtual. And one of the issues we're gonna have when we go non-virtual is where are we gonna have the meetings held? Because our community room is in both our facilities, are no longer community rooms. They're vaccination clinics
Ah,
or labs. So we'll have to see where we can go live.
yeah. A room with a tall ceiling,
Yeah.
more air.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Well, see what you can find then as an alternative. Eventually, we'll need to go back to in person, hopefully,
Yes.
sometime this year. So there you go.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All
Hopefully.
right. I hope everyone has a fantastic sunny Thursday. And look forward to meeting again in April. Thank you, everyone. Ron Darling, Chair, signing off. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.